Welcome to the team. I'm Ollie. I'm the team's head of R&D. I'm here to help you deliver the results the team expects. Do that, and I'm sure... Don't let us down.
Hello folks, and welcome to Paddock Pass, your pre-race edition for this, the inaugural round of the 2022 Formula One World Championship. And I've got to say, it feels great to be back. As is tradition, there is something of an air of a first day back at school on arrival here. But it's more than that, because the new era of Formula One has arrived. And with it, the eagerly anticipated new car regulations, which have been designed to help promote better racing. With clean sculpted lines, swooping rear and front wings, which should allow cars to follow each other more closely, new eye-catching 18-inch low-profile tyres, the return of ground effect, and a reduction of aerodynamic physical adornments, the new cars look strikingly different, all while improving safety and pushing the limit of tech car the quickest, leading the charge against the rest of the pack. Only time will tell. As always, we can't wait for this season to begin. But for now, from us, that's you.
So this first race of the season is always quite difficult for us trackside and for those back at the factory as well, as it's the first time there'll be a lack of rubber out on track, so take it easy for the first couple of laps.
And with the cars now over the line, let's see our top... With qualifying finished, it's time to remind ourselves once again of our top three: Leclerc, Sainz, and Max Verstappen. With qualifying wrapped, no more testing, no more practice. This is the real deal, and it's make or break here at round one of this year's Formula One World Championship. We go racing today around the 3.36 miles of the magnificent Bahrain International Circuit, with 15 corners and 2 good passing opportunities into turns 1 and 4. Keep an eye out for drivers locking the front left tyre into the tricky braking zone of turn 10. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. And a very happy Carlos Sainz will start second. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have... So here we are in 2022 at the start of another Formula One World Championship. It all begins here, the start of the next generation of Formula One. With the end of the second turbocharged era, a new dawn begins.
Okay, we've held position on lap 1. That's not great, but it's not terrible. Stay focused. top 10. Understood, stopping this lap. P10, you're currently in P10. Schumacher ahead. Less than a second separates you. They're on fresh softs. Gasly's behind you. Okay, the gap is less than a second. They're on fresh softs. Okay, so gap to the leader is 8.6 seconds. You've got 4 laps until your pit window opens. 13 laps to go. Okay, good work. Great pass. Perfect job on the turn in there, mate. Looks like a nice stop time. We're happy with that one. Okay, stay clear of the white line on the exit. We'll receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross onto the track. Okay, DRS will be enabled this lap. You can use it when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone. Your teammate ahead is 11.3 seconds. Okay, gap to the car ahead is 5.1 seconds. fastest lap at this point in time is a 1:35.1. There's a new strategy available on the MF. Made it look so easy. Okay, clear. Okay, watch your pace. We've been informed the safety car is out. There appears to have been an issue with multiple stock vehicles on the track. Behind's just boxed the mediums. Car behind on the medium tyre now. You're approaching the safety car. You're leading, so don't pass it. Stay behind the safety car. find the position immediately or we're going to get penalised. There's no overtaking during the safety car period. Racing again, the safety car is in this lap. When the field accelerates, remember there's no overtaking until the timing line. Safety car in this lap. Green flag. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 4.0 seconds. Gap behind us is 3.4 seconds. First position, front of the pack. Okay, Russell's behind you now. Okay, the gap behind is 4.0 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound. 4 laps remaining. Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now. Okay, we've got 7 laps worth of fuel remaining. DRS has been enabled. DRS is now enabled. Max is coming in for his stop. Okay, be aware, the grip levels are going to start falling away soon. Okay, that's us with 5 laps of fuel remaining, 5 laps of fuel left. Confirmed, we'll receive you at the end of this lap. Perfect job from you and the crew there, mate. We're delighted with that. That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. Let's go. Brilliant, nice move, keep going. Okay, this is your final lap of the race. Gap to your teammate behind is 27.6 seconds. Okay, we've got 4 laps of fuel remaining. Top job, my friend, top job. I was a bit worried about this one at the start of the weekend, but you pulled through. Thank you very much.
And Mercedes have pulled off a great victory here today. Talk to me, Ant. What was it that set them apart? After an excellent performance... So let's review the drivers' standings. Some amazing talent out on the track today. But Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
I have to give it to Khan. That was a commanding performance today. Very impressive indeed.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Mercedes moved to the top of the table. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Let's focus now for the rest of the race. Currently the fastest lap is at 1 minute 41.2. work, mate. That brings you up a place. DRS is being enabled this lap. You use DRS when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone. Approaching the pit window and you're going to be on mediums. So far, our fastest lap is a 1:36.8. The fastest lap at this point in time is a 1:36.8. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 20.3 seconds. All right, we'll be doing one more stop today. One stop left in this strategy. Okay, your pit window opens next lap. Gap to your teammate behind is 23.2 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. They're in 12th. Time last lap was a 1:40.9. Okay, be careful. We think you're going to start losing some tyre grip any time now. In this lap. Push now. No tyre concerns at the moment, just focus on the driving. That was a fantastic stop, faster than we were expecting. All right, we'll be doing one more stop today. One stop left for this strategy. Check your MFD for a new strategy option. Right, drop your speed. Our delta's too low and we're going to risk a penalty. Slow your pace immediately. Confirmed. Max is in the pits. Max in the pits. Okay, we're coming up to the safety car now. Do not pass it. You are the leader. Follow the safety car. Are you okay? That was a big one. Confirm you're okay, please.